In today's episode, we are talking about tumblers, all different types of tumblers, and the different ways that you can personalize them, whether you're keeping them for yourself, giving them as a gift, or selling them. And we're going to talk about, realistically, can you make and sell these items for a profit? Hey, thank you for joining me. I'm Sarah with Creative Ramblings, and this is the Creative Ramblings podcast, where we talk about topics that are meant for you, the crafter, whether you are a hobbyist or a small business owner. Today, we are talking all about tumblers, and in front of me here, I have just a few of the ones that I have made and kept for myself personally. There are a lot of different ways that you can personalize tumblers, and they are really, really popular right now. So these are also a great option if you are looking at selling a new product. So before we dive into all of that, I just want to touch on some deals that are happening this week. Now, we are 1 week post Black Friday, and so there were some huge deals that we saw between Friday and Monday of this week. There are still some great sales going on as we ramp up before the Christmas gifting season. And one that I want to point out to you is Cricut's 12 Days of Deals. This started today, December 3rd, it started yesterday, December 3rd, and it goes through the 14th. And every day they're going to have a different deal. So the best way to find out about this is to subscribe to Cricut's newsletter, or you can follow them on any platform like Instagram or Facebook, and they're going to share their deals. So today they have the really long rolls of vinyl for under $10. Later I think next week, they're going to do some mystery boxes at a really great price. So if you are still looking for some Cricut materials or machines or anything else, keep an eye on Cricut's 12 Days of Deals. All right, so let's talk about tumblers, how to personalize them, and how to sell them if that's what you're doing. So tumblers in general, and when I say the word tumbler, I mean a reusable cup of some sort that you can take with you. So it typically has a lid. They come in all shapes and sizes, and they are just crazy popular right now. I think the best example is what we've seen happening with Stanley tumblers over the years, these big kind of 40-ounce giant metal cups that come in all different colors and styles, and Stanley has partnered with a lot of other brands to make exclusive tumblers, and they are flying off the shelves. People are no longer just having one reusable water bottle, but they are having one for every day of the week, every season, all kinds of things. In the same way, we have seen in the crafting world the ability to personalize these tumblers and add a special design or a name or a holiday graphic to the tumbler and then sell it. People love to carry their beverages on the go. So as crafters, why not get involved in that? So there's a lot of different ways you can personalize these items. Adding names and a very personal touch is huge. So taking a small tumbler and adding like a business logo or a first name and giving it out to your best group of friends, that seems to be really trendy. The ability to add maybe a team logo for your local volleyball team or something like that, that is also really popular right now. So these tumblers, if you're watching and not listening, you can see I've got a couple tumblers in front of me here. These are all ones I've made for myself using all of the different methods that we're going to talk about in just a minute. So you can definitely, if you're a hobbyist and you have a Cricut or a laser or something in between, you can grab yourself a tumbler from Walmart or Michael's and you can add some decorations to it and just have it for yourself. That's one of the best parts about having a craft machine, is that you can make yourself all kinds of cool stuff. I am in the process of making some tumblers for gifts this season, and I'm able not only to add cute graphics to it, but then add maybe my cousin's name or my daughter's dance logo or something like that. And it's just a really special gift that you can't find in a big box store. So let's dive into the three main ways that you can personalize a tumbler. Again, we're using the word tumbler to describe any kind of travel cup. So I've got 3 ways that you can do this. There may be more, but we're going to focus on 3. So the first way is with vinyl. And again, if you can see me, fantastic, but I'm holding a plastic straw cup with some holographic vinyl and kind of a smiley face design on it. So vinyl can be cut with a Cricut, a Silhouette, a Caesar, whatever kind of craft machine you have. You can create a design in Cricut Design Space, cut it out from vinyl, weed that vinyl, and then apply the vinyl to the cup. When you're doing that with a smart cutting machine, you can apply that vinyl to anything. You could apply it to plastic, glass, metal, ceramic, whatever material you have, you can apply that vinyl. Vinyl comes in all kinds of colors. I love this holographic vinyl. This is from Tech Wrap. It just adds a really cool shimmer look depending on what light you're in. There's also color changing vinyl. So if you put it on a cup and added a hot or a cold beverage, the vinyl is going to change color. You can do patterns, you can do layers. There are so many options with vinyl. Creating a cup with a Cricut, I think, is probably overall the least expensive way to go, because owning a Cricut machine and purchasing a vinyl, or purchasing any kind of vinyl and maybe a plastic cup, is a pretty low cost entry point. You can cut this vinyl with the Cricut Joy, which is about $100. You can get a roll of vinyl for about $5 and you can go ahead and make your cup. So pretty low cost option. And if you're already a Cricut owner, even better. The second option for customizing a tumbler is sublimation. So quick overview of sublimation. It is a special printer and special ink that prints a design out onto special sublimation paper. Side note, if you want to know more about sublimation, I have a beginner playlist, and I actually just did a live on sublimation that we go in depth, because if you've never done it before, it can be a little confusing, a little overwhelming, but if you want to learn more, go watch those videos. So what sublimation does is this image gets printed, and then you wrap a tumbler. I'm holding one here that's glass that has like a Christmas logo on it. You wrap the paper around the tumbler, put some heat-proof tape on it, and you put it in a tumbler press, and that applies heat. So with heat and pressure, your design that you printed off turns into a gas, and it like adheres to the tumbler. So once you pull it out of the tumbler press, you take the paper off, your design is smooth against your cup. So unlike vinyl on a cup, where you can feel the edges of the vinyl, you cannot feel it on a sublimated tumbler. It is not going to fade, peel, crack. This is going to hold up forever. The beauty of sublimation is that you can do full color designs on here. When you're doing vinyl, you can do multiple colors. I've done it many times, but you have to weed out each color. When you're sublimating, you just print it. There's no weeding involved. So I could do a family photo in beautiful, colorful detail right on a cup if I wanted to. And again, no weeding. You kind of skip that step and you get really vibrant looking pieces. You may have seen these full wrap tumblers where there's no white or free space left over on the tumbler. It's just wrapped all the way around in a beautiful design. A subset of sublimation is infusible ink. So if you're familiar with Cricut, infusible ink is pre-printed like sublimation ink on paper. Comes in a lot of fun patterns and colors. And you cut a design out of that paper using your Cricut and then wrap it on a sublimation blank and infuse the ink into the tumbler. So very similar to sublimation, but you don't need the printer. So that's option number 2. That's sublimation on a blank. The third option is with a laser. And lasers allow you, I've got a couple here, these 2 with handles here are laser engraved. Your blanks have to be metal because we cannot be engraving on plastic. You can do glass actually, but metal is going to be your best option. You put a tumbler like this into your laser engraver, and you have what's called a rotary attachment. This is a little attachment that holds all kinds of cylindrical items, and it spins the item while the laser engraves. So you can get what's called a full wrap. So this big pink tumbler that I'm holding here, this is 40 ounces. It is fully wrapped on the top with these engraved hearts. what the laser does is it removes the coating on the outside of a coated metal tumbler and reveals the silver metal underneath. So back to the Stanleys we talked about. Those are coated metal tumblers. So there's stainless steel underneath, the coating on the outside. And if you put that into your laser, the laser is going to take off the coating and just reveal the metal underneath. It is a beautiful way to add some really intricate designs on very popular tumblers. You can do this for all sizes. You can do it on glass as well. There's just some details you need to do when you're engraving glass. If you're interested in laser engraving tumblers, I have lots of videos on that too, so check out those in the description. So those are kind of the 3 ways that you can personalize tumblers. I talked about Cricut being a pretty low cost entry because you could use the $100 Cricut Joy and a roll of vinyl to personalize anything. Sublimation cost is a little bit more. You'll need to purchase a sublimation printer, ink, and paper, and then you'll need some type of a heat press or an oven to apply the heat and pressure to your blank. So once you have all those things, it's really easy to sublimate. It doesn't take that much time, but it's an investment up front to have those items in order to create sublimation tumblers. Finally, with laser engraving, once you have all the stuff, pretty easy to do. You just need to buy your tumbler, but you will need to invest in a laser with a rotary attachment first. I do believe the least expensive on the market right now is about $800 for it's like a 10-watt laser with a rotary attachment. I'm thinking of the We Create Vista. But you can go all the way up to a couple $1,000s to get a faster, more powerful laser with a rotary attachment. Once you have that, super easy. You don't need anything else to engrave these tumblers. So those are the 3 ways and a general idea of what you need to get into personalizing tumblers with a Cricut, sublimation, or a laser. Let's talk for just a moment about designs on tumblers. If you are using Cricut, you want to cut out some vinyl and you want to make some tumblers for yourself, you can use Cricut Design Space. Whatever images are in there, I'm pretty sure I got this smiley face design here from Cricut Design Space and I cut it out and I'm using it for myself personally. I have another tumbler here with my brand name on it. So this I just made in the software, the laser software that I was using, taped out my brand name and put it in there. If you are looking for items to sell, you may have your own artwork and you can manipulate that in whatever design software you use and then either send it to Cricut or your laser software or your sublimation printer. If you are looking for designs that are already created and ready to go, I really like Creative Fabrica. So what you can do is go into there and search for Tumbler wrap. And you can put in the ounces. You can put in 40 ounce or 20 ounce, or these are called like can cups. And you're going to get these amazing full wrap designs that are already sized appropriately for your blank. And they are just beautiful. Some of them actually offer you space. So when you download the design, you can add in maybe a name or something personal into the blank space that they provide. So Creative Fabrica is a great place to start. For $47 a year, you get a membership, and it includes a commercial license. So whatever elements you download, you can use in your final designs. I have a Christmas cup here. This is a Creative Fabrica design. It came in a bundle, and these I'm not selling. I'm just keeping for myself, but I really like them. Okay, so we covered a couple ways that you can personalize tumblers. They're really fun to do. I want to talk a little bit about the cost of customizing a tumbler. So if you are a hobby crafter and you're looking at making these for a gift, it's a good idea to understand what the cost is to do each of these methods. We're also going to look at the cost of making them and then how much you can expect to sell them for. So if you are a small business owner, maybe you have a craft fair coming up, what can you expect to sell these tumblers for? So I've done a lot of research on this and I've bought a lot of blanks. And so we are going to talk about a 20 ounce straight-sided skinny tumbler. Let me see if I can grab one here to show you. Okay, so if you are watching and not just listening, this is a 20 ounce skinny tumbler. It came bright white. They also come in bare metal. There are some glitter options too, but it's 20 ounces. It comes with a lid so you can sip coffee out of here, but it also comes with a straw. These types of tumblers can be engraved with a laser if you get kind of the metal ones or the coated ones. You can add vinyl to them. They can also be sublimated. So that's where we're going to start with a 20 ounce skinny tumbler. If you are going to purchase one of these, it's going to range from about $5 to $9. I have a couple sources linked down in the description of where I would buy tumblers from. On Amazon, I really like the brand PYD Life. That's where this came from, actually. You can look at Maker Flow Crafts, ProWorld, and Heat Press Nation. All of these are going to give you the option to buy not only these skinny tumblers, but probably everything I have sitting up here. From these, this isn't a Stanley, these big knockoff 40 ounce tumblers, to plastic, to glass, to sublimation, whatever you're looking for. But we're looking somewhere between $5 and $9. If you are buying in bulk, so 12, 24, 48, however many you need, the price is going to go down and you can get these down to like $3 a piece. So when you're just starting out, start with just one. You can run over to Michael's or Walmart and just get one and try it out. And then if you want to make more, look at those bulk options from those retailers I mentioned, because that's going to be your best bang for your buck. You can also test thrift store options if you want. So head to your local thrift store, see what they have. I really like doing that for laser engraving, just to kind of understand my power and speed settings. It's a great way to test. It's a great way, if you can find sublimation blanks at a thrift store, it's a great way to test sublimation as well. Okay, so let's calculate some prices. We are going to start with vinyl first. So if I purchase this 20 ounce skinny straight-sided tumbler, we're going to say it costs us $5. So on the very low end, I purchased this for $5. And we're going to assume that I already have all the machines to do this. So I already have the Cricut, the sublimation printer, the laser engraver. I already have all of that. That is a sunk cost. We are solely talking about making this tumbler. So I spent $5 on my tumbler. Now I'm going to need a roll of vinyl. And if you shop sales, you can get a 12-inch by 3 to 4 foot roll of vinyl for about $4. Not going to use the whole roll of vinyl, but I need to buy the roll in order to get, a few colors that are in it. So $5 for the tumbler, $4 for the vinyl, and now we need to account for the time. From designing this in Design Space, Cricut Design Space, to cutting it, weeding it, and applying it, and we're going to assume that the transfer tape needed to apply it is built into the cost of the vinyl here. I'm going to say you could do this in 30 minutes. It might take you a little bit longer if you run into some issues with weeding or it's not cutting all the way. But if everything goes smoothly, you could do this in about 30 minutes. And let's say that your time is worth $20 an hour. Because you're worth it, you have to be able to, when we're thinking about selling these, you have to be able to account for your time and charge for your time. So whether you're making this for a gift or you're selling it, that's super important. So let's cover that again. $5 for the tumbler, $4 for the vinyl and transfer tape, 30 minutes to make the cup. And we're looking at about $20 an hour for your wage. So that means it would cost $19 to make this 20 ounce skinny tumbler with Cricut vinyl applied. $19. That's where we're at with that one. So let's do that same walkthrough with a sublimation tumbler. So same thing, 20 ounce skinny sided straight tumbler, $5. We're going to assume we already own the printer, the paper, the ink, and the heat press. And I'm going to assume we're going to spend $1 to print the design needed for this cup. Realistically, it's probably less than that. I buy my paper in bulk. If you buy your ink, it's going to last you a long time. You're going to need transfer tape, maybe a shrink bag. But just for the sake of an argument here, we're going to say that it costs $1 in supplies to add a design to this tumbler. And if everything goes smoothly, from designing your image to printing it and heating it, should take you about 30 minutes, which again, $20 an hour. That means that to sublimate this straight-sided tumbler, we're looking at a total of $16. And finally, we're looking at our laser engraving. So same straight-sided tumbler. It probably wouldn't be white. It would be either stainless steel or coated stainless steel, but we can get that for about $5. When you are laser engraving, if you already own the machine, there is nothing else you need to design this tumbler. However, a full wrap, detailed design on a 20-ounce tumbler like this can take up to an hour, especially if you have a slower laser. And I'm thinking here we're going to use a 10-watt laser, just kind of on the lower end of the market of speed. So then we'd have to account more for our time. So then we're looking at about an hour of time, which is about $20, meaning that this fully wrapped laser engraved tumbler cost about $25 to make. So our comparison here, we're looking at the Cricut tumbler for $19, the sublimation tumbler for $16, and the laser for $25. If you make and sell items, you may calculate your pricing a little bit differently, but by using the same calculation for each method of making a tumbler, it allows us to compare apples to apples. So now, if you want to go ahead and make those at gifts, I think those are incredibly reasonable prices. I have to tell you, this giant pink tumbler here, this is a knockoff kind of Stanley looking tumbler. I picked this up for $7 at Walmart and I was able to engrave it. And my daughter loves it, so she uses this sometimes too. But at $7, and I already own the laser, this is a really inexpensive gift that if I was able to add a name or something to it, it would be so impactful. So those prices are a good idea for you to keep in mind if you are making gifts for somebody and how much of your time and materials it may cost to give those gifts. I want to switch for a second to selling these items in your small business and making a profit. So there's a number of ways that you can sell items. If you are a crafter who sells items, you are probably familiar with this. You can sell in person, you can sell online. Selling online, I think Etsy is probably our default where people list their items online. It's a lot of places who have independent websites, or maybe a Facebook group, maybe a private group where you sell your items, or even Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Craigslist. There's a lot of online items or online resources from very large and international to very small and local. You can also sell at maybe a shop. Maybe you own a brick and mortar store and you're selling your items there. You can sell at a craft fair. We're in December here, so coming up on so many different holiday markets. You can rent a booth and you can sell your items there. You can also network and do word of mouth in whatever community you're in. The local school, maybe you work with teachers, or the local businesses around you. Maybe your daughter is on a volleyball team and you can look to making cups for that team and those families. So there's a lot of different ways to sell your items. If I were to make and sell a Cricut cup with vinyl on it, again, we're looking at that same 20-ounce skinny straight-sided tumbler. Between online, so Etsy and eBay and Facebook and all those things, and the in-person items that I have seen for sale in my area, those will sell anywhere from $15 to $30 a piece. Depending on where you're located, this may be very different from you, but in my area, these tumblers go from about $15 to $20 when they have vinyl on them. For a sublimation tumbler, again, that 20 ounce, we're looking from anywhere between $20 and $40. Now that depends on whether or not it's fully wrapped in a design, how detailed the design is, and whether or not it's personalized. And then finally, we have laser engraved design, starting at $20, but going all the way up to $40, depending on how complex they are. Some of these full wrapped engraved designs are just beautifully detailed, and rightfully so, people charge a little bit more from that. So let's look at the comparison there. If it costs us $19 to make a Cricut cup and we can sell it between $15 and $30, it's a very small profit margin there. For sublimation, if we can make it for $16 and sell between $20 and $40, a little bit bigger of a profit margin. And then for lasering, if it's costing us $25 to make it and they're selling between $20 and $50, there's potential for profit there if you hit the right market with the right design. Engraved, embellished, sublimated tumblers are incredibly popular right now. Everybody loves them, everybody has them. But what that means is when you go to Etsy or eBay or your local holiday craft fair, you will see these everywhere. I was at a craft market recently. I'm going to one this Saturday, just as a customer, not as a seller, and they are incredibly popular. So you may go to a craft market, you may do a quick search on eBay and go, the market's saturated. I can't do this. I can't sell in this market. These are everywhere. And when the market's saturated, there tends to be very competitive pricing, where each seller is trying to get their price lower and lower so they can move their inventory. And that means your profit margin is shrinking. So, does this mean there are no options and you should not make and sell tumblers? Absolutely not. I think there is room for your business and these items to be sold, but you need to be very strategic about what you're selling. So let me share some tips on what I think you could have success and make a profit with. First and foremost, stay away from copyrighted items. These may be really exciting and they may attract a lot of people to your booth, but they are illegal. No one has the right to make and sell Disney items or an NFL football team or an NHL hockey team. They just do not give out rights to sell their logo. The same would go for your local high school. If you have a really big high school football fan base, you probably cannot use the high school's logo without seeking permission from them to do so, and that's going to cost you some money. So stay away from items that are copyrighted. Make sure you have a commercial license to make and sell your art. I mentioned Creative Fabrica earlier. You do get a commercial license with your membership to sell their art. However, a lot of people use Creative Fabrica. So if you search for Tumbler wrap and you download these beautiful wraps and you put them on tumblers, there are most likely other sellers doing the exact same thing. So this leads me to say that you need to make sure your items are unique and that they stand out. So if you are using Creative Fabrica, download their wraps and use them as elements in your design. The things you find on there are just items you can use in your design. The second thing that people find a lot of success with is very niche personalization. So if I'm at a craft fair, can I sell items that are super niche to something local that people in my town at this craft fair really, really like? If I'm selling online or maybe in a local Facebook group, can I offer name personalization? Like, here's this cool design I got off Creative Fabrica, but I will add your name to it, and that cost is built right in. Because once you have the actual design, it's super easy to add a name in any of these methods. The other way you can have success with tumblers is by working within your community and doing just some networking with local businesses and local communities. So make a couple tumblers and go out to local businesses and let them know that you could put their logo on these tumblers. Maybe they can hand them out as Christmas gifts or use them as a marketing tool. Maybe go into your local school or library or whatever community place exists in your town and offer your services there. My daughters both dance. They have their dance school sells a lot of merch. If you had maybe a dance school that didn't sell merch, maybe you could get in there and offer to make tumblers with the logo and come up with an agreement with that school. Tumblers, basic generic tumblers with engravings and customization is a saturated market right now. If you can offer personalization in a niche, you can absolutely be successful with this craft. So we have covered all the different ways to customize tumblers. If you want to know more about one of these methods, I have videos for you. They are all linked down in the description. I have made a lot of laser sublimation and Cricut drinking materials. So I've done a lot of work with this, and I'd love to share that with you. So if you want to go deep on one of these, take a look at those videos. This podcast goes live every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Central. Be sure you're subscribed so you get a notification the next time an episode is live. I am booking out interviews for next year. We are going to start a fun series where I am interviewing small business owners who have taken their craft, their hobby, and turned it into a business. If that describes you, I would love to chat. There is a form down in the description that you can fill out. It does not matter how small or how large your business is. If you have a story that you want to share that you think would inspire others, we need to talk. And you would definitely get some really cool publicity for your business right here on this podcast. Be sure to take a look at my merch while you're down in the description. You can get a cozy sweatshirt just like this that tells the world that you would rather be crafting. Thanks so much for listening. We will see you next week.